One. So this is a solution for the test automation for student management system. And I'm just going to discuss the agenda first. So we have the introduction, the test automation scope, design and develop automation testing solution for Institute SMS. So SMS is just the student management system. TAS execution, in which we have tried to discuss the process, methodology, and technologies chosen. Results will cover the architecture prepared and execution results. And TAS discussion will talk about possible improvements to fill the existing gaps, conclusion, and recommendations. So the institute management system was basically a web application in which we were testing the login and some different functionalities to institute authorized administrators. So administrators are all the persons who would have access and they would be able to make any changes to the application. Each administrator can reach to instate SMS dashboard, and then they can create, edit, and delete records. And it's among the four categories, which is enrollment, staff, academics, and organization. So this presentation mainly aim for the methodology chosen, tools and technologies, and then how we can implement for the student management system of the institute. Challenges, and then what led us to save time and cost on regression testing and the test automation system architecture for the web application. So the scope has the Selenium wrapper layer, page objects layer, steps layer, and the feature layer. Um, so in the test planning phase of this application, there were four uh, features which needs to be tested, which is valid login, invalid login, logout functionality, any edit. So edit covers all the others, which is delete, search, and the new GPO and delete GPO. And then we have chosen the methodology as Scrum, considering there were only limited resources, and then only one thing can be done. Well, the next can be done when the one is finished. So we choose the iterative process. So for each iteration, uh, like once the one iteration is done, then the next iteration will be started to do the risk reduction. And the technology chosen is Selenium WebDriver because it's an open source library, and it will let you have access to a lot of other libraries you can call, and then you can extend it. Maintenance is easier. There is a lot of support available. So, and the technology chosen is Cucumber, which is open source library. And then BDD style is becoming really popular. So, which will let the people understand it in a very simple language. Um, so non-testing background or the other members, they would be able to understand the test written easily. And technology chosen is to extend reports. This is again an open source library, right? And analysis, identification of testing technique, which is exploratory testing, and the prioritization of test conditions. So for designing, you can see the feature scenario were written in a plain English BDD style, which says given when then, and that is how you would be able to read and know what is exactly you are testing. So in the implementation, BDT style test written in the feature files. So we have the Selenium wrapper package, pages package, and steps package. So steps contain the implementation of step definition. Step definition classes are basically um, all the steps which are against the feature files. So features could be login, log out, or the search functionality. So execution performed to check tests are running as per expected, and then evaluating the exact criteria and reporting. So, and then to see what is the test closure activity. So the institute SMS tests and guidelines to run it and hand over to the Institute Education Limited. This is just a diagram which is telling about the feature files. It includes test scenarios and the steps in simpler language, English, and then, for instance, given, when, then. And then we have the step definition layer, which include steps against the feature files. Then the page object layer, it includes locator variables and action methods related to one page. If we have 7 web pages, then it would be 7 page object classes. So in this scenario, it's 4. So it's 4 object page classes. And then we have the Selenium wrapper, which include Selenium WebDriver objects. And Selenium WebDriver is a library which is used to perform actions on web browser. So we expose all required objects available in Selenium WebDriver library by these classes. And we have also integrated with the extent report execution result, where you can see clearly how many features passed, how many scenario failed or passed. And then we have the discussions, which has the improvements, which is regression testing on performed on the institute SMS with the help of tests. It costs save and time, cost save cost and time for institute. Scrum methodology adoption. Although there is a lot of other technologies like Agile, where you can work collaboratively, but for this specific application at that time, we just thought the Scrum methodology is the most suitable phase because it is in a development phase. And then Cucumber implementation to provide live documentation for test script and cases, and test execution with multiple set of test data with the Cucumber example tables. And the gaps include manual testing, which can be time consuming and expensive. The traditional approach of waterfall model would not allow iterative changes since the application is in a development phase. So those were not followed. Test cases written based on another testing framework are only test scripts. Therefore, it is required to write the test in Excel or Word. So this is the example of a Cucumber table, which has a scenario outline, which will allow us to test the data to test with the multiple data set. So for this, the conclusion is it will help the institution Education Limited to reduce the time and cost from manual testing and then using a automation for its regression testing and maintaining test suite. And then, as you know, it's Selenium WebDriver, Cucumber, all are open source. It will also allow to them to get support and extend, maintain. Scrum methodology to help to develop this framework on time. And for institute, student management system, uh, reporting bugs on to institute. So these are the things which has been reported, which is login security issue, new institution functional blocker, and then user experience suggestions, where for entering the wrong credentials, error message was just in basic black language. So we just suggest it to be in a bold red color, so becomes easier for people to understand. To improve tests further, object-oriented programming concepts can be implemented to make the solution compatible for parallel execution. Selenium wrapper can be extended with more functionality whenever they will introduce. More coverage and feature scenarios needs to be automated, and precondition and post conditions can be managed uh, by making a direct connection with the database. That's it.